So you are welcome to my healthy food place where we share ideas and recipes on how you can stay healthy naturally. And I'm your host, Grace Enemali. And today we'll be talking about something that appears to pertain more to the female or the women folk. It's an interesting subject. And if you know somebody who is going through menopause, a woman, men also do, but women are more often affected because of their unique nature and body. And so if you are a woman between the ages of 35 or 36, some people start early, but most time is between 38 years, from 38 years, 39 and above, a good number of people. That's when they normally start having the symptoms. And the subject of menopause is something that I love to talk about. Why? Because a lot of women, this is usually the most difficult time in their lives, in our lives. Let me put the word, our life. Okay. Yes, you're welcome again to my healthy food place. Still on the subject of menopause. Yes, a lot of people know little or nothing about menopause before they get into it. Usually getting into it unprepared. Because that was my own case and experience. And so, during this short time I want to say together on this channel, I want to talk about the subject of menopause. Then the symptoms. Then some of the foods and lifestyle changes that will help you to ease the symptom. Now, I do not like to say to stop the symptoms. The symptoms are very disturbing. And the funny thing or the ugly aspect is that the symptoms of menopause seems to vary from person to person. And so if you I had my own experience, which I'm going to share some here again. Some of you may have heard it or read it somewhere about me. It was one of the most difficult and trying moments of my life. It's something that, in fact, a lot of women, and I want to repeat, it's usually the time that if you survive, you're most likely to have a longer life. Yes, let me put it in a more gentle form like that, because so many troubles that even doctors will be wondering what exactly, even your own family, your own husband, your own relations will be wondering they may be wondering what exactly is wrong with you. Because most times when they go to the hospital to check, they may see nothing. Thank you, Ms. Bala, you're welcome. Most times when they go to the hospital, they see nothing. And you are like you're dying. But I'm not going to be speedy to rush into the symptoms and the food. Let me quickly tell us the period that you should expect the menopause. It's important for you to know, so that if you know about it, you won't be worried too much. You will just have in your mind that you're a woman. As long as you're a woman, there's no shortcut. There's nothing. I see a lot of supplements telling you to buy to stop the menopause. My dear, let's tell ourselves the truth. I'm fine, my dear. Let's tell ourselves the truth. You can't stop it entirely, but you can ease the symptom and move along through it without much troubles. But I tell you, for troubles, they surely will come. And so, when exactly are we expected to begin to look forward to the menopause? Now again, before I go further, a lot of women, especially those who are trusting to carry their babies, they don't want to hear menopause. I said, it's an offensive word for a woman who has not had her child or carried her child. If you talk to her about menopause, if she's already in her 40s and she's come with some complaints, and you say, you dare to use the word menopause. In fact, they won't tell you, but they don't like it. But whether you like it or not, it is menopause. I tried to find out the origin and the word. I couldn't get much. But I read that it's from Greek word meaning men and something, posin or poin. I can't pronounce it well. But I tried to, search one or two info on how it started. And then the end of the cessation of the period is what is more about the pause there. The men and the pause, that word pause, as you know, when something stops, not just a pausing, but this time around, it stops like indefinitely. You should come to the United States of America. Thank you for that comment. I'm still here. Let's be talking here first. And so, what I'm saying is that the menopause does not choose whether you are a black or whether you are a white or whether whatever, but as long as you're a woman, you should look forward to menopause once you start seeing your monthly period. That is the qualification for menopause. Because if you never had the ovary releasing the eggs and the estrogen and all the stuff that happens monthly in the life of the woman, well, I don't know the name to call it, but you're not the eggs are not released, so you are just as good to remain like other male people, but because you're not having the experience, and it's experience I pray every woman should have, not because of the menopause experience. It's a price we normally pay. And I want to thank you for coming and for being here, because if you are going through a lot of crisis as a woman and you are you're already 38, why I had to go back a little to 36, 37 is that I know that by the age 37, we were already, a lot of us, I was visiting hospitals up and down at that time, in and out of hospital. And I do see women of my age. And at one point, we even gathered at one point, one of the teaching hospitals. And we saw that we were all the same age range. And our problems are just menopause related, but we didn't know. The husbands were complaining that we are always sick. Some said they had never been sick. So people like myself and other among the women that they'd never been sick until this age now, that they notice that it's neither here and every day in and out of hospital. And so if that is what is menopause? Menopause is that period, let me define it precisely, is that period when the egg that started when the woman clocked maybe 15, 14 or 13. From some people even see it as early as 11 years or 12. But I saw mine at 14. So during that period, between that age 11 to 14 or 15, something so unique happens in the life of every young lady. And some parents do well to teach their children, their daughters, that they should expect something to happen between that period, and they'll be looking forward to it. If you don't see it, the parents are worried, because once that egg is released the first time, and the female or the teenage girl sees the blood, the parents celebrate that she is a woman truly, and she is most likely 99% sure to have her own, to reproduce offsprings, which is expected of every woman. And so if the woman gets to that age, she needs to be educated by parents. Some of us, our parents didn't tell us. They were not educated. They didn't give us awareness that something was going to happen. Though we heard from friends, it's still the same thing, it's still good. So at that point, the first egg is released by the ovary, and the woman sees it like flowing of blood, And from that very date that it happened, the woman takes note of it. Every 28 days, from the next month, it continues to come to visit. I call it visit. The woman will have to, the lady will have to buy things like a pad, all the things, and all the accessories to make sure that she doesn't get infection. She keeps her pants and underwears very clean and neat. She gets all the necessary things to ensure that the bloods are mopped up and disposed hygienically, because there are high points of infection if it's not properly disposed. Some girls are careless, and I tell you, you don't need to be careless because it's blood. Very soon it starts smelling, and in fact, our girls and ladies need to be taught about this. And so once that egg is released, the woman sees it for like 3 to 4 days with heavy flow. And yet I say it varies. Why did I say it varies? When the young girl or the teenage girl is low in iron, and that's why we should pay attention to our teenage girls to ensure that they get enough iron by including foods like soya beans in their diet. If you can't afford enough meat, enough other things like beets and the rest of it, you can just go use soya beans, which is a complete amino acid, to get sufficient iron. Because there is something with our body, and I tell you, if a teenage girl is malnourished, when it gets to that time, it could be delayed, because our body is smart. This is something I've learned over the years. Our body is smart in the sense that if the body senses that releasing that egg for that amount of blood to keep flowing for 3-4 days, which ends maybe 5 days, it may start just little will be coming up until 5-6 days, and the thing ends. Now, if the body senses, this is something I repeat, this is something I got to learn over the years. Our body is so smart. If the teenage girl's body senses that she's so low in iron that if that egg is released and that blood begins to flow, that her life and her health will be in danger, it's not going to release it. That's how smart our body is. And that is how gracious God is. Permit me to say God in this matter, because He's the one that made the body to behave that way. Because if the blood begins to flow, massive blood flow, and there is no reserve somewhere to keep that lady going, you see, some of them could be collapsing on the road. And so if the lady, a teenage girl, is deficient in iron, is not eating well, and it's within that period, 11 to 15 years, she may have a delayed onset of the menstrual flow, which brings us to the topic or the subject of menopause. So she may have it delayed. And then another thing that happens when it is delayed from the onset is that some of them may have delayed menopause. And that's why there is no particular time. The earlier it comes, most times, the earlier it goes. Some, they saw it first 11 years, some 12 years. I knew some of my friends that saw it as early as 11 years. They said, you never see it. I was so big, fat. When you see me, you think I've been seeing it for long. But sometimes they just find out that I'm not seeing anything like that. So I was like, what's going on? And at exactly about 14, 13 years, I saw mine. I can't remember the age to be precise, but I saw it, and it was a thing of joy for me because my friends were all seeing it. And that's how it happens to most girls and ladies. And so once it begins to come, every month you must be prepared. And while you're preparing to receive it, you should know that having any contact, sexual relationship with a man will bring about an offspring. That's how it is. So the woman can have a child. The young girl can have a child. She can be married in some cultures where they give young teenagers very young girls, it's an old idea, but they give them out in marriage after they have started seeing that this thing. They know they are qualified now to have babies. But that is not my own idea, and I don't belong to that school. I believe in education. You need to educate and get more matured before you go into the institution of marriage. And so the coming of the menstrual flow is an indication that the menopause is sure to come. And so when the menstrual flow begins to flow, that's the woman have entered her reproductive years. That's what I prefer to call it. The woman is now in her reproductive years. And the belly or the body of the woman is prepared and expecting, because every moment, every month, she go through this experience of blood flow. And if contact is made with a man during the mid of that period, when this thing is about to flow, I call it ovulation. Ovulation, when the ovulation is taking place, she will have a baby. And so as it continues, and that is why it's important for every lady to know that there is a reproductive year, and we should be mindful of it, because once it passes, there's nothing. It will only take miracle for the woman to conceive again. It will only take, I use the word miracle, that is, it's miracle that it will require. And so the person, every woman should know this as well. The time passes. Once the clock starts, menstrual flow has started, the woman should be getting ready to go out and stay and live, settle with a family. But for the menopause, when the woman is getting to 36, 37, no, to be precise, 37, let me use mine, as the signs begins to show. That's the period we call pre-menopause. You begin to start feeling like sometimes you are sick. You are feeling like, let me bring us to the symptoms of menopause. And so what are the symptoms? Because these are the things I tend to talk about. You start to see like, sometimes you lie down, you cannot sleep. You that you could just lie down and sleep anywhere. You now lie down, you discover your sleeps are just very small sleep, and you are awake and that is very annoying. And I suffered it a lot. A lot of people suffered it and are still going through it. That's why I like to talk about it. And once that sleep problems come in, mood swings and other things also comes in. Because when you haven't slept well, you won't be happy. Your appetite won't be the best. So you start feeling angry, or maybe when you eat food, it's not properly digested, you start having anxiety attacks. Sometimes suddenly you just start feeling just all kinds of feelings. It varies. Hot flushes, night sweats. Sometimes you are sweating in the night, so much sweat as if they poured water on you. My dear, you don't have to worry. Worrying makes it worse. And what is going to stop the worry is awareness. If you have knowledge of what is going on. And remember that before we end, I shall also be telling us some of the foods that will help you, and lifestyle changes that will help you to reduce the severity of the symptoms, not to stop it entirely. Some people wish to stop menopause. Let it not happen. Let it be given to some less, let it be given out to someone else. That is why you're a woman. Nothing, and I repeat, nothing will take it away. That's the price. It's part of the price. And so, when you start having that sleep problems, other symptoms also begin to show up. And that happens from the age 17 years, 37 years, 38, 39. You start to have sleep problems. You don't no longer sleep. Sometimes you slept but you woke up, you're asking yourself, did I really sleep? You're asking somebody by the side, was I asleep? Because of the egg, the estrogen, because of the hormones, hormonal change, things are changing inside of you. You are not aware that your body is getting ready for the next phase of your life, when you will no longer be seeing that your visitor, that your monthly visitor. So when you start having those symptoms of not sleeping, you get worried, and I will tell you some of the things we'll be doing. Now, sometimes again, when you take some food, it looks as if the food is not even digesting as before. It looks as if your body is no longer accepting it. Before now, you were eating cake, eat whatever you like, eat all kinds of junk. At the end of the month, your body will release, and they go out. They will just go out through the blood flow, and your body looks like you are refreshed. You look, most young girls, you see them at that time, they look fresh because that blood is like monthly cleansing. But now you are entering a period where everything will stay inside your body. The body tries to get prepared, and Mother Nature have made it that the body must prepare for this another long journey, another phase of your life. But the ugly part of it is that while the inside of our body was getting prepared, we are not aware, because nobody educated us. We kept expecting that the thing will be coming, and then suddenly we start having poor sleep, insufficient sleep, insomnia. We start having hot flashes, night sweat, mood swings, even depression. All this begins to flow in because of that poor sleep. I tell you, a lot of other things some begin to gain weight. I mean, any little thing you eat, weight gain has come. Some people that you knew that were so slim before, they start adding weight, and that is, you must watch that weight gain. It's one of the worst enemies of menopause. Now, why do some people have more symptoms? Yes, over the years I have found out that some people have more symptoms than others. Now, those people that have more symptoms are those who are very, very heavy, very weighty. I was in that class. I was weighing like 115, 120 kg. That's much. When an average person of my height should be weighing 65, 70, I was weighing 100 and without pregnancy. And when pregnancy comes, it used to be something else. We say, don't worry, should we go down? No. After the childbearing, the weight gain continues. And so if you can deal with the weight gain with some of the tips I'll be giving us here, the menopause may not be much on you. Then there's another people that it is very hard on, the menopause. Those are the very skinny people. So please, you see these two extremes, avoid them during menopause. The two extremes, they're not good. I've tested the two sides. That's why I'm telling you. To be too skinny, the hot flushes will be too much. And it will look like life is going out of you. At times you'll be walking, ordinary wind, heavy wind will almost be tending to threaten you, your very existence. Wind, though, to show you that weight is something you should desire, but not too much. I also went through the extreme of weight gain and almost the extreme of weight loss, because I was trying to take back my health. And so when you start having symptoms like all of this is the time to make your lifestyle changes immediately. It's not a matter of choice. You just have to start. It has to be a drastic change. Once you see that you're 37, 38 and all this are happening, you need to be fast. Otherwise, before you know it, other things start, blood pressure start to come, blood sugar. But these ones normally come in when the real blood flow has stopped. But those symptoms of not sleeping, most times they come as signaling the main menopause, which is the cessation of the menstruation period, which started in your life as a teenager. Now, when these things are happening, this blood does not come every month anymore. Sometimes it will come in January. You expect in February. It will now come 2 or 3 months after. Sometimes it will come in that month. Before you are expecting it at the end of the month, it will come in the middle of the month again, because there is confusion inside of the body. The organs are no longer receiving messages and signals. You can imagine if you were in their shoes, something you've been receiving since 20 years, 25, 30 years, and suddenly you woke up and you didn't get it. You'll be running around looking for, where is it? Let me do my job. The thing didn't come. The egg was not released. And so they start running around inside the body. This thing start causing havoc in the life of the woman, because they are, I believe, this is my own belief, they are running around to see what is going on. Why can't this thing come? I'm expecting it and I'm ready to receive the eggs, and I'm ready for everything. This is a job I've been doing for 25, 30 years. Where is it? So this is the confusion that happens in the woman's, that's going on inside the body internally. But the woman is the one feeling it, not knowing what is going on. Sometimes you could be healthy in the morning, around 4 p.m. You just change. That was my experience too. You become very ill. You start feeling cold. Just different things could happen. It varies with individual. Just like we have different blood groups, symptoms are different. It looks like you can even book an appointment to go to a place with someone, and before that time, suddenly you are sick. They think you are faking it. It's not. It's menopause. That's how it is. Sometimes you'll be afraid to eat certain foods. The food you be eating before, when you eat it, something just starts happening. Why? Because of the hormonal changes, because of the estrogen activities that's going on inside of you. And so this is the time to reduce sugars. Number one, I want you to take note. It's one of your worst enemies. If you are weight gaining, you must lose weight. Lose weight. Losing weight will help you. And if you have no weight, if you find a way to get weight, get it small, so that it will help to balance. You'll be in the middle. If you start, if you notice that whatever you eat is causing you weight gain, you stop eating starchy foods. Stop the processed foods. Stop the carbonated drinks. I did that. The earlier the better. Stop the simple sugars. Those things you are drinking, calling it pap. Some of you, when the stomach, the belly starts behaving anyhow, like it's not digesting, you resort to pap, white pap, yellow pap, everyday pap, not knowing that pap is simple sugars. And it's not a source of protein. It's not a significant source. Let me use the word. So they start drinking pap. Anytime, pap is a fermented food. So anytime you take it, you sleep. It took me time to convince. In fact, I didn't even convince her. Let me not just. A diabetic woman who is almost above 50 then, she refused to accept that pap, white pap or yellow pap, is not good for her. Though she was already diabetic, taking diabetic medications, but she didn't accept it. And that's the position of a lot of you. Because of ignorance. She was still taking it. Some people, the very thing that makes the diabetes to peak in their life. Because your body starts to have changes like having difficulty to manage fat, having difficulty to handle sugars, having difficulty handling all the processed food. There's no monthly period anymore to enable them to flow out. So everything's gonna stay with you. So the first and best decision is to stop all this junk food you are eating, all those processed food, and switch to only natural food and take more of the proteins. No, I have discovered protein is scarce, but you need to look for them. Because protein is the building block. If you take protein and more of the food that help to build muscles, your muscles will be intact. And the rate at which your bone density is deteriorating, which is part of the symptoms of the menopause, when it gets to that time, the bone mineral density begins to go down. It's part of it. And that is when you need to do more exercising. But surprisingly, it is the time that most women feel they cannot do much anymore. They feel sick. So the best thing is to sit at home. It's the best thing to stay indoors because of those symptoms. You need to go out because you need vitamin D for your bones, for the absorption of your calcium and your nutrients. And you cannot get it inside the house. You need to go outside, especially the early morning sunshine. You need to go out to get it. And the good thing is even free. You don't need to pay. And so you need to find time to go out. I still do it. Be deliberate about it. Go out into the sun, not too much sun, so that you get some of these nutrients that are free, absolutely free. So that even if you are taking calcium or whatever, you don't have to have problem of absorption because the vitamin D is there. It's not needed in large amount, but you need it. And one of the nutrients that the women need a lot, which is also missing, and it's one of the reasons why a good number of women are always having problems sleeping because of low calcium. Now, before then, you could take milk, and not milk wasn't. You take as much milk as you like before the menopause starts showing up, and those years will last. Some people have asked me, and let me answer it again. Say, how long? When it starts from that 37, 38, and be showing up with different sickness, and the woman start complaining. Sometimes the period comes this month, you are expecting next month, it will come 2 months after, or in the middle of the month, come earlier than you're expecting. Just you're not sure of anything, and you are not in control. Your body is not in control. Just anything they see, they take. So those things are part of what is making the woman sick because of what is happening, and making her feel sick. Let me not say sick, because things are no longer as they were originally from the teenage age when it started. And so the rearrangement is already going on without our knowledge. Life that is to come. That is the life of the full menopause, when the menopause have ceased. And so for the calcium, which is always one of the reasons why many don't sleep, you need foods like chia seeds. Soya beans is also good. Soya beans is one of the foods that helps to mimic the estrogen, and you need it because it has sufficient iron for you. At this point, I will also suggest or advise that you do not continue to go for over-the-counter medications. I'm not saying you shouldn't go for treatment if you are sick, but those of you who are addicted to I was a victim. Multivitamins. Sometimes you are even thinking you don't have enough blood, that you need more blood, so you buy more multivitamins, and women pause and all kinds of pause they are selling in the pharmacy. They are those beautifully commercial labeled products that, in fact, if you see, you would like to buy. Women opals and all kinds of names they give it, attractive names. But I tell you, I bought and tried it, almost all of them, and they were actually making the situation almost worse. Why? Because the body does no longer have the capacity to cleanse and remove all the toxins and the waste that is being generated by the consumption of these processed supplements and multivitamins. And so it does. I had to stay off everything. I have cartons. I mean, I was really, really into it. Both those in the networking world, those that they say you drink and you don't need food, all kinds of very expensive supplement. I don't want to mention the name of the companies because it is not, the fault is not with their product. Their products are good. The problem was actually what you are going through. Your body does not have the ability anymore. So the moment you take any of multivitamins and you are thinking it will make you sleep like you normally sleep, you'll be disappointed. In the night, you still be awake. These are some of the drugs that before you could take and they make you sleep. You can't sleep. And the worst thing is to take iron tablet because they are highly inflammatory and they become easily toxic. Because these are, and they don't even increase your iron because iron does not get absorbed without the exact charge that is needed. That is not something that gets absorbed easily, iron. It can even recycle itself. I mean, the ones in your body, if the disease, the bacteria, the problem is taken away, gradually, I think from what I read, it can always, just recycling and get back. But rushing to get multivitamin drugs to sustain yourself is what I also tried, but it wasn't the way because they were introducing more toxins and the body is no longer capable. And so the best thing is to go on natural foods. And that's what this channel is about, healthy food place. And it was even at that time that when I regained my own health, that the initiative to set up, platforms to educate people that you can actually be healthy just by eating healthy. It was at that point when I successfully took my health, which was almost gone as a result of not knowing much about menopause, that I began to teach and educate others that you can. At that time, I was always in and out of hospital to treat typhoid. I will never forget. Yes, anytime into the hospital lab, they check, they say the typhoid is there, malaria is there. It was like a nightmare. I thought it was going to end my life. Yes, but I tell you, and I still say it, to the glory of God, it's been 14 years running and even more. We soon enter 2025. And I no longer take antibiotics. All those malaria, typhoid, every time, repeatedly. In fact, some people suggest you take every 3 months. They were part of the thing that destroyed the gut and brought in and created an unhealthy gut environment for me, which ushered in things like stomach ulcers for me and some of you. Because I was so much into antibiotics. The strongest of the antibiotics, I'll go for it, thinking it will end the typhoid and malaria. But it didn't. It didn't. It will only end it a few days, is back. And even for those years, I am saying that I have not taken, and I don't want to ever live that life again, those antibiotics. That is not to say that I am now free from those bugs. They are still there. And I want to give that message to you. Don't think you can destroy them entirely. They will always be there. If I go for tests today, they will see typhoid. And if possible, they will see malaria too. Yes, they will see all of this. Why? Because that is the environment. But what you will always create is a symbiotic relationship where they also, because there are millions of these bacteria, they survive, you survive, but you don't feed them too much. And that is one of the things you do during the menopause. When menopause time is coming, stop the sugars, stop the processed food, stop all the too much of drugs, antibiotics, too much. Mark my words. Because don't say, I say don't take drug, don't take, no. Too much dependence on medications is in your life during the menopause is not the best way. because it's going to be creating more acidic environment. For every treatment or every multivitamin, for every whatever you take, the liver is going to do extra work. The kidney is going to do extra work to remove the things that were used in preserving those products, because they were made from factories and they must be preserved. Either they use salt, whichever preservation. And so the more you are addicted to them, the more you are also opening another door for other health challenges, including high blood pressure. And so first thing, you must lose weight. Secondly, I'm talking of the lifestyle changes. You must lose weight. You must reduce starchy foods, too much carbohydrates. Losing weight, you need to be exercising. I've said that before. And then eat more protein for bigger muscles, more healthy fats, eat more calcium-rich foods. And I said you need to chia seed, soya beans, occasional milk is okay. Yogurt is good. A flaxseed is okay. There are other foods in other regions, tofu and the rest, but the ones I'm mentioning are familiar to those that are living in the region, Nigeria. So there are other calcium-rich foods that faraway regions have, which we don't have. But fruits and vegetables are good sources too. So foods like almond is good in magnesium and calcium. And during this when this menopause, pre-menopause years, which last for like 6 to 7 years, 7 to 8 years sometimes, and the real menopause comes at 50. Mine came at 50. Some at 52, some 49. But I tell you, mine started 38 years. And finally, the last period came in around that 50 and never came again. So that was, you have entered menopause. You are welcome. No more buying of pad. No more buying of all those things. So it has stopped. Finally, you won't see it for 12 months, because sometimes you may say it has come. That is because of this thing. After 2 months, some people say come again because of certain foods that they are eating. Maybe you are taking too much of blood thinners. Blood thinner is good, and you need to include blood thinners in your diet during those periods to start avoiding things, the risk of high blood pressure, the risk of certain chronic diseases and inflammations. But I tell you, there's certain food you eat, the thing comes back. Now, if you are exposed to foods high in iron and you started consuming high blood thinning foods, and the thing becomes, sometimes it just open up again and flow. And then some people also normally get to 52, 53, 54 years, they are still seeing it. Even 55, they are still seeing it, because of this estrogen and progesterone and the rest of it, hormonal issues. It varies with individuals. Some people it come early, some people go early. I said before, the earlier it comes as a teenage, the earlier it goes. So don't worry if your own went early. Don't start looking for it or looking for medication. Maybe it came very early. Many of us cannot even remember the exact year, but we know before 15, we already started seeing it. Myself, for instance. And so, you need to monitor the weight gain if you're overweight, and if you are too skinny also, it's going to affect you too much. You need to be in the middle. And then you need to stop all the processed foods. Stop all of it if you want to have a happy menopause that with less symptoms. All those your bouillon cubes, I stopped all of them. Canned foods, I stopped all of them during those periods. I didn't have any form to learn, and that's why I talk of it so often, because the knowledge is limited, it's not much on the outside. Because there was nothing like TikTok. We didn't have things like YouTube. I didn't know much about YouTube. YouTube was already existing. I don't even know. I don't know whether it was. I don't know. I don't think it was. So we didn't have opportunity to get information as we are giving you. So it was just like very dark situation for us. So we're just groping in the dark, relying on the mercy and the grace of God, which was there for some of us. And so you need to lose weight, stop the carbonated drinks, stop too much medication, stop the caffeine, and then make a list of the trigger foods because it varies. There are some food you take, immediately after eating that food, problem starts after like 10 minutes. You must have a list of the trigger foods. It varies. That same food, somebody may eat it and go to sleep. And so because our blood group and everything, they are not the same. So if you eat any particular food and it gives you problem, either digestive issues or bloating and the rest, mark that food. Don't say my doctor said this. Don't say my nutritionist said this. Don't say my dietitian. I don't like to hear all of that. When you get to menopause, listen to what your body is saying. Thank you, Ngozi Amadiog, you're welcome. So listen to what your body is saying. It is when you now enter the menopause, another phase, things like heart problems start to show up. Tumors. Now you have passed one stage. Why? Because of all these junky things we are taking. And the way to reduce it, to stop all the... Some of you like to drink beverages, morning cereals. I stopped all of it. You like to take leafy teas like green tea, black tea, you like all of those things. I love them so much. But over the years, as the menopause came and this period ceased, I also began to slow down on those things that I love. And that's exactly what you need to do. The one that gives you, that makes you like, after taking it, you are having like anxiety feeling. It's very common with caffeine. As a matter of fact, it's common with caffeine and spicy food. Those of you that like pepper soup and hot soups like that. As a matter of fact, I want to suggest that every woman who have entered menopause should go low on spices. Our body becomes very sensitive then. Should go low on caffeine. Once in a while, you take coffee. Some people will say, Mama is talking of caffeine. What of coffee? What of coffee? What of what do they call it? This bitter cola. What of this? What of that? What of cocoa? These are all sources, natural sources. But that is not to say you should abstain. That is my... Once that nutrient occurs naturally, once in a while, you go for it. You go for it. When you're having pains, you know that you need foods like ginger and turmeric. These are anti-inflammatory foods. Foods like the bromelain you can find in what is it called? Pineapple, fresh pineapple. When you are having constipation, you begin to seek for natural solutions. You begin to take food as your medicine. That's exactly what we're saying. That's what led me into this. That's why I'm always interested in talking about menopause. A lot of women are suffering as I speak today. Their life is like their life is something else because of ignorance. Some of the women, they have the solution around, but no knowledge, nobody to tell them. Some are buying beverages. Beverages I used to love. Some of the brands like Bonvita, where I used to buy all brands of it. Even butter, milk butter. It's a long time. All brands of butter, put on bread, eat it. I was so good at it. Before the menopause and all the challenge. So long, I can't even remember all those things again. And the last one was bread and biscuits. Some of you are still chewing on it. And that is the reason acid still they come in. Once in a while, you can take 1 or 2 slices. But making it the way you take it, like use it to be dipping on the tea with milk, and these are delicacies we used to love. I watched a video recently on one of this thing, and I saw a very old woman, maybe 80 or thereabout, with all these breads, with and all these things, soaking, sometimes with Lipton. How many people can you educate? Soaking the bread. They know the elderly women, they like to be soaking the bread inside because the teeth is already weak, everything. So they are thinking that by doing that, the things will be stronger. You can see very old women at 80, 90 that are very hale and hearty. I'm looking forward to invite some of them. I've talked to some, but some of them are even afraid, because of lack of education. Maybe they're thinking if they come online, something will happen, or I don't know. Our people, the way they reason. To come and share and tell you some of their secrets. Some people, one of the secrets that they don't add weight. You don't see an 85-year-old woman, or you see somebody 90, you see them looking very big and fresh. No, because the muscles are shrinking and they are staying away from carbohydrates. And that's what I'm even trying to do now. I still take it, but to maintain my weight, so I won't start adding weight. Of course, it's not likely. If you see somebody, I made a short message the other day. If you see anybody after 60, start adding weight, becoming so chubby and fresh, maybe the person is on drugs or medication. Or it may be that there's a warning sign of inflammations, or even some diseases when the weight just start to increase. Because we must guard against weight gain when we are, because weight gain places more load on the body, on the bones. You make two choices, change from white salt to sea salt. Start doing it. Some people say, I want to go and see my doctor. Some people say, it's good to see doctor. After God, I tell you, let my own me say it here. The next people I have great respect and regard for are the doctors, medical doctors, the physicians. If your life have never been saved by a physician, especially the specialist, you will never understand what I'm saying. So it's not as if I'm saying you shouldn't go see your doctor, you shouldn't go do this. No, we all need them. But don't put your mind on all those medications too much when you are going through menopause. That is the truth. It makes your case become, in fact, at a point the doctors get tired of you, because every day is different complaint. You are complaining one thing, they are trying to manage it. Tomorrow you are coming up with another. The doctors start getting, because these things are natural things that you need to manage with natural foods. You need to manage with lifestyle changes. Doctor cannot do it for you. Stop frying your food. If you've been frying it before, fry your stew. I stopped that long ago. You fry your chicken. You think you can't make your stew without frying it. My dear, stop frying long ago, because it makes the food very hard to digest. And when you are getting to that point, you eat only easily digestible. Go for easily digestible foods to reduce stress on your body, to reduce the case of fatty liver. A lot of people are going through fatty liver disease. And you know that when you are in this menopause period, these are the organs we must watch against. Don't eat food that will give you problem, make your liver you start having fatty liver. And when the fatty liver is there, you say you have malaria and typhoid. And what do? You go again and take medication. And the residue of the medication go back onto the liver. Some go to the kidney. And when they start showing you signs of not being able to digest, like the kidney, the liver that is helping to metabolize fat and a lot of other jobs, immediately you start getting those symptoms, you go again. You are sick, you go for medications. And where are they going to dump it? They dump them inside the liver. And so, my dear, that's why I emphasize you must reduce your dependence. Not to say you shouldn't see doctor. If you have any health concern that necessitates you going to a doctor, do it. But don't, when you enter menopause, as a matter of fact, you will discover that most of the doctors that you are going to, they are young girls and young men. They don't even know what menopause. In fact, that was one of the reasons that made me say I will never go again. Because they don't even seem to know what I'm talking about. They don't have the experience. When I go there, I take my card and I'm talking, today is this. There's sometimes they say, go for this test, you go and do negative. Tomorrow you come, they write, go for this test, you go and do. And you keep running up and down. That was my experience. And some of them are quite young. It's not their fault. They don't even know what you are going through. It's only, and we don't, I never had the opportunity to see an old woman who is a doctor during those days, maybe a consultant, maybe 60 years, so that at least I may have that confidence that this mama may not understand what I'm talking about. Most of them were young ladies, young boys, young men. So that also made me, I say, what am I every day? Go for this test, go up and down. And at the end, nothing. They see nothing. And they still give drugs and medication. So at a point, I said, I'm done. And that's when I began this to teach some of you. When I recovered my own. And if you have been devastated because of menopause, you don't need to give up. It's something that you just don't need too much medications, too much weight gain, too much thinking and stress. Just lifestyle change. Stop all those frying of your food, all those too much of starchy food, too much of stress, too much of lack of exercising. Just lifestyle change. Start including health. It was then I started using coconut oil, which I'm talking about. I didn't learn it anywhere. Start using healthy fat. Use food that help to balance hormones. Seeds like sesame seeds. Most of the nutrient-dense food, start including flax seeds, chia seeds. Some of you have never heard of these seeds, like myself too. You've never heard of it. But during menopause, when your body starts to behave like that, and the conventional foods that you have used to taking, your body is no longer coping with them. Then you start going for nutrient-dense foods, like you can find in seeds, black seeds, all the seeds, fenugreek seeds. You start living life of even the, what do they call it? Forgot this other one. There are so many of them. Seeds, pumpkin seeds. You start going for those seeds. Start including them because they are dense in nutrition and they won't put more calorie or weight gain on you. And then you start eating foods that will protect your heart when you have entered the menopause. Foods that you will find magnesium, calcium, and then you will find other nutrients there. You must also avoid carbonated drinks that will, skyrocket your blood sugar. Because once your blood sugar is high, everything will be out of place. And that is also very common during the menopause. So, my dear, my fellow women, it's not something, that's not the end of life. Don't be so discouraged. We survived it. You also will survive it. We are living today without all those things. Yes, we are living. Just taking one day at a time. Not 2 days at the same, but always be listening to your body. When you take a particular food and it's not okay for you, stop it. If you have been eating late, you need to adjust it. If you've not been exercising, you need to be deliberate. Because not exercising will lead to more loss of bone minerals. Now, if you're also not exercising, your muscles also will not, you will not be helping your muscles. Let me tell you, put it that way. So you now become more deliberate about it, exercising, so that you will not have too much bone loss. Or things like osteoporosis. Some women have suffered it. Some people have lost their life. Diseases like that. Sudden cracking of the bones. The women are the ones that are often affected. And so you need to, watch against it, and do some specific exercises. Organs in our body, our feet. I don't think this subject is so large and it's so interesting because it's something I've gone through. If you are someone that normally leave your legs dirty and you don't even pay attention, you don't massage it, you need to start during menopause because you need blood circulation. All those waste that are now stocked in the body, they are blocking you. Small time you start experiencing clogged arteries. And if you don't deal with clogged arteries with foods like pomegranate, foods like citrus, lemons, and the vitamin C rich foods, if you don't include those foods, you be expect foods like tomatoes. You need to include food that will unclog your arteries from time to time. Exercising also helps to unclog your arteries. Pay attention to your feet. You begin to pay attention to some organs. Your teeth. You start having tooth problems. I had to remove one later, but when I got to realize it, I started to use sea salt to gargle to strengthen the teeth. Otherwise, more teeth will be removed before you know it because of too much bread, sugars. The body cannot cope with it. We need to eat food to protect our brain. All this brain, coconut oil is very good. All the healthy fats, avocados, almonds, walnuts, peanuts, cashew nuts, and all the nuts, macadamia, and all kinds of nuts. Take them in moderation. The brain needs it. Reduce the leafy teas, especially when you have entered the menopause. Reduce the leafy teas because they are not dense in nutrition. Take foods that will give you calcium. Oats is good. Fermented grains, you can include moderately, don't overdo it. Too much fermented food is not good because the grains are also high in carbohydrates. They are a source of carbohydrates, I tell you. But you need to take them smartly, like millet, like sorghum bicolor, like sorghum jowar, all this stuff. Finger millet and all the tiny, tiny grains. You'll be looking down on them. Green vegetables should be part of your daily diet. You must include it regularly because they will help to protect your heart because of the magnesium. The heart is always at risk after menopause. You know what I'm talking about. That's one of the biggest risks, heart disease, heart problems. That's the biggest challenge women in their 60s are facing. Heart attack, heart disease, stroke is another one. You must guard against it. When the weight begins to increase, begin to do something. Don't wait until the stroke strike the person down. When you see the arteries are clogged, you need to be making dietary changes and modifications. You don't have to just be consuming the conventional foods you are taking. Regular conventional food. Occasionally you change. Based on what your body is saying. Occasionally you change. Based on what you are feeling. Because the body will reverse. If the disease starts knocking and you change, the disease will go back. But you can't fight them and win by too much sugars in your blood, too much clogged arteries, poor blood circulation. No disease can heal if the blood is not flowing to that point. Feet, start having fungals of the feet. Mostly at this point, poor blood circulation and several others. Reduce the carbohydrates, stop the frying, reduce the trans fat, all those vegetables, stop them. Start including leafy greens, soya beans in moderation, chia seeds, flax seeds, black seeds, sesame seeds, fenugreek seeds, even the, what do they call it? cumin seeds, fennel seeds, there are so many of them. Pumpkin seeds. And so you need to include the seeds more to reduce the blood pressure, to monitor to help control the weight gain. Because once the weight gain is not controlled, it's going to usher in blood sugar increase, it's going to usher in arthritis, it's going to usher in blood pressure and several other things. That is it. I don't intend to stay more than this. And I want to thank all of you who have come, who have made it to this very live event, talking on menopause. Yes, menopause. Don't be discouraged. It doesn't matter how bad or what you're feeling. Mine was also horrible. I thought that was the end of life for me. But after several years, I'm still here, talking and kicking, without even frequently visiting hospitals, as I used to do. You can only get to this point through knowledge. Knowledge is a power, it's empowerment. I call it empowerment. That's why I'm empowering you with knowledge. Don't forget to follow this channel. If you have not followed this channel, follow this channel, because I speak from my own experience. In addition to what I have already, the things I have read, the things I have gone through, the things I have experienced, put them together. That's what I teach out here. Not just hear something and say, but experience it. And experience, they say, is the best. Yes. Just make a few of the lifestyle changes. Include high calcium foods. Have your eyes on protein if you want to manage menopause. It is also at that time that the thyroid, this thyroid issue that comes up, it happens also due to estrogen activities, hormonal issues. Now some people have overactive thyroid, some are having underactive thyroid. And sometimes the manifestation starts by shooting out the bulky something around here. We have foods that trigger it. Caffeine, soya beans, and some other, foods, even stress. So we should be watching out, checking ourselves here and there, every now and then, to ensure that we just age graciously, because that is the aging process. The woman have entered the aging. Once the period stops, menopause has come. So you don't have to waste your money or spend your money buying all those monthly pad and all those kind of stress. But then the stress changes in another way. Start managing your heart, managing your liver, your kidney, managing your weight. Firstly, your weight, managing your diet, your nutrition, what you eat, the quantity, the timing. Some of you were eating 3-4 times a day. You discover that if you eat twice, you are okay. Don't have to eat too much. Sometimes it's once. Yes, you can just have tea, be going the whole day, and then have one major meal, sometimes two. There's some of you that like to eat small. It's okay. The one that suits you. Just follow the one that is best for you, even despite what I have said here. Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, because anytime I'm here, you'll be notified. See you. Thank you for coming once again.